I thought I had this video planned out. The title. Either you're going to completely dismiss what I'm about to say, or you'll understand that this is absolutely accurate. This is the most important piece of information in the world right now. And you need to share this video. You need to spread links to it. You need to copy it. I don't care how. You can retell this information for yourself if you want. Just do it. It needs to get out. And I know it needs to get out because as I was sitting here contemplate how urgently to express how much it needed to get out, I looked down and I saw a brand new stigmata. Holes on my wrists. See them? Both sides. Now, from birth, I have had a scar right here and right here. And you can feel where wrinkles have covered holes. I have had from birth a broken foot. A broken bone. A broken foot in my right bone. No. Trembling, sorry. Broken foot in my right bone. Sure. Let's pretend it's Latin and I'm pronouncing it backwards. Okay, so I've always questioned these other scars. This one looks like the fucking nail just kind of dragged down through it. Okay. And first of all, if you're reincarnated, you might know that a lot of people were crucified back then. And a lot of people have the scars to prove it. And a lot of those people seem to remember Jesus. I don't think I was crucified twice, but I'm pretty sure I got nailed to a cross twice. Huh. So anyways, that's not what this is about. That's just kind of making me freak out about what this is about. So please hear me out. You don't gotta shout. Skeet, scat, skeet. I'm an old black man. Okay. Anyways. My soul is pretty much an old black man. I see old cars that nobody else sees, and I say, yeah. Don't even have to be in good shape. I'm just like, the work that could be done on the dirty hands, the busted nose that could happen because of that. The beautiful experience that awaits. All right. I'm settled. I'm going to move the fuck on. Any minute now. It's coming. Still there. Like, it's fucking pink on both sides. See there, I hold it still long enough. I didn't do anything to make that. I don't have anything on my right side where I sit or anything like that. I don't sit at a computer or anything like that. But when I sit on a couch. When I drive left-handed, so that's not brushing up against anything. I drive a Honda Accord. It's got 2 steering wheel covers, tennis racket wrapped on. It's luxurious. I can't think of another reason why I just fucking have these and just noticed them just now. So, move moving on. I want to tell you a story, and you can start recording now if you want to spread a normal version of this video. My audio ain't gonna sync anyways, is it? Because it's a fucking cell phone with a crappy SD card that I got off of eBay for $12. So, good morning, folks. Today I come to bring you a rather controversial, I'm sure, but very important message. And this has been something I've been researching for a very long time. I am a geeky workaholic who's actually disabled now. So I got a lot of free time to look up shit. And I don't just like Google conspiracy and nothing what you're about to hear is what you're going to hear on all the so-called news sites. You understand? All right. Now, I don't have any time to waste time establishing my credibility intellectually other than to say that. Okay? Been concerned. I've been politically active since I graduated high school. I got hit by a car, broke my fucking back. The end. All right. I have worked since then, interspersed. Okay. But I've spent most of my time as a political activist, as a conspiracy researcher. And what I've noticed in the past decade or so is that nobody knew what the fuck they were talking about. Nobody. And I think in the back of your mind, all of you know that's true. Even the ones who sit there talking when they don't know what they're talking about. Now, to tell you about the current situation without having your pre-programmed responses, that is your brainwashing, and I'm here to let you know that you are brainwashed, every one of you. Without those pre-programmed responses causing you to react a certain way, I need to tell you a story, a parable of sorts. Well, say you had an enemy. You know at least that you have an enemy, right? Okay. So let's be logical about this. In order to establish logic, it helps to speak in hypotheticals. So, if you had an enemy and you wanted to disable that enemy from being able to fight back, and if your enemy didn't know that you were enemies, what would you do? What is the logical course of action in that scenario? You have an enemy that doesn't know that it's your enemy. Well, the tactically correct response to this situation would be to demoralize the enemy. Now, let's just play this out in a social scenario so you can really understand what I'm talking about. If somebody came up to you and you'd hung out with them before, you thought you were cool, you had a little argument in the past, but everything was supposed to be cool. Common knowledge. Yeah, we're cool. Not buddy buddy, but we're cool, right? Okay. And this cool guy, man, do you remember what you did last night? Oh, you were so fucking drunk. You stood up on the bar and pissed on the fucking bartender, dude. It was fucking awesome. She was such a bitch. And you're like sitting there. I, uh, 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 I don't remember that. Did I really fucking do that? And then you start doubting every moral decision you've ever fucking made. You start doubting your own memories. You start doubting your own integrity as a person. You start doubting your history. Okay? I'm not talking about his story. I'm talking about your story. Then that person has you right where they want you. If that person is, say, some sort of psychic vampire, or say, if you're in politics, somebody that wants to assassinate you, either throw you off your game mentally or actually get you to make some stupid decisions to make you ripe for the plucking. This can be done with extortion, blackmail, adultery. Okay? It's not just stories about people pissing on each other. Although, after you hear what I'm going to say, you're going to be pretty pissed off yourself. It turns out you've been being pissed on for a while. And no other channel. And I've been looking on YouTube since there was a YouTube. And long before that, have I been, searching for this kind of information. You won't find any channel that even wants to consider this possibility because they're all in bed. Well, so let's move it up to a political level. All right. We've all seen this in elections, so it's actually a very good example. We had just the other day, there's this report out about the Saudis supposed to. Did you know the Saudis were supposed to? I mean, did the Iranians? Did you know the Iranians were supposed to inspect themselves? How could you let this happen? Do you not care about America, sir? This comes from a statement by the director of the IAEA that the Iranians would be responsible for the inspections, as in held responsible. But they took the one word responsible out of context of everything else the guy said. And suddenly, got the whole administration back on its heels, sitting there talking about we don't, and now everybody's talking as if Obama's destroying America by letting Iran inspect itself. Okay, you just bullshit, and you make someone defend something that isn't true, and if they're not expecting it, ooh, they're gonna not be able to defend themselves. That's called being put back on your heels. So let's take this to the international level. And this is what I'm trying to make you understand. This is what this video is about. This is what my channel happens to be about. What my entire life is about, it seems. If you are the ruler of a nation, and I mean the ruler, like the king, the dictator, somebody who's been in power for a very long time, Vladimir Putin, for instance. I mean, just hypothetically. And you had an enemy. That's us. That enemy didn't know you were their enemy. What would you do? Well, obviously, you trick them into being self-destructive. If they don't know that you're their enemy, you have free reign to manipulate them. You can tell them things like either Al Qaeda or the United States government attacked you on 9/11. You could tell them that the Russians aren't capable of an intelligence operation that would lead to the Cole bombing. You could tell them about their history. You could tell them they were all a bunch of genocidal Indian killers and all a bunch of slave owners. And you could have slave ownership and genocide associated with their identity. Because you told them this was true about themselves. And they were, oh, well, I don't want to be like that. I feel bad. That was us. Nobody intellectually defends it because you don't want to feel like an asshole. You don't want to sound like a bigot. You don't question it because you heard the word Holocaust. You don't question it because you heard the word Native American. You don't question it because you heard the word slavery. There were these things called abolitionists. They're the ones who ended slavery. Those were white people. Be proud of that. There's a lot of white people in this country who never owned slaves and who never agreed with owning slaves, who always fought for the rights of all mankind. Okay? There were some white people who fought for the rights of their own slaves. In fact, there were lots of them. That's how slavery ended. Yeah, rich white people doing the right thing. It happens, folks, believe it or not. Now, as a result of this infiltration of history, this infiltration of religion, they've come to Christian churches and told you things about Christianity that you're like, oh, all the while guiding the rules by which you interpret scripture by telling you other things about Christianity. And all these little subtle things work together. And suddenly you forget the difference between old covenants and new covenant. And you think that Christianity should apologize for the genocide and bigotry of those who came before it. You think that the people who are acting like this are Christians. No, they got told the same things you were in a different context, but by the same people. They got told you should be an Old Testament Christian. Who told them that? else? Now, I want you to know, whoever you are right now, if you're watching this, if you have any kind of halfway decent resume, you can run for political office. You can gain power in this country. No matter who you are, no matter how much money you have, all you need is integrity and ideas that are productive. Okay? This country is made up of people like that. This country is ran by people like that. But you know what? They're human. They're not perfect. And what you don't know about America that I'm about to tell you is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. And I hope that you spread the word so it can be a long one. Right now, we are outgunned in tanks, missiles, that is both ballistic and field range missiles, anti-ship missiles, anti-aircraft missiles. And no, it's not just a matter of they have more numbers, but we have better shit. Their current technology has greater range in each arena than our technology. Okay? This means that they have first strike capability. And in modern warfare, whoever strikes first almost always wins. Because once you launch the initial salvo, you've taken out enough targets to reduce the defending forces to where the rest of them will either retreat or be easy to finish off. Okay? Well, you know those people that are easy to finish off right now? That's America. You know who our enemy is? It's Russia. Now, I know what all these other channels are saying. I know what you want to say right now. And 10 years ago, I would have agreed with you. 10 years ago, I'd have been the one that told you about it. In fact, if you knew me 10 years ago, I probably would have been the one that told you about it. But I'm going to tell you right now that you were wrong now, and I was wrong then. The Cold War is not the concoction of the military-industrial complex. The military-industrial complex is a named legal institution in Russia. You're misquoting Eisenhower in your head. And you're using it, the words of a president, to justify being a traitor to the United States of America. And the reason why you don't like the way that sounds is because of the infiltration, because of the story about pissing on a bartender that you got told about America. We have found out on paper they are openly, the federal government of Russia is openly paying 39,000 intelligence operatives in the United States of America. Now, if they're doing that much out in the open, imagine how much they're doing behind the scenes. Chances are somebody you know, somebody on your Facebook list, either they are or their parents are a Russian who doesn't speak Russian. Some of them might actually speak Russian. Some of them might speak Arabic. Some of them might speak different dialects that you've never heard of. Okay. But what most of them have in common is that they didn't grow up in a culturally Russian town. They grew up in a fake American town inside of Russia. And you can confirm this. You can find this out for yourself. It's not American propaganda. This really happened. And right as those people were starting to come to fruition, right as there was enough of them to deploy for the plan of disheartening, for the plan of telling you you pissed on a bartender when you were drunk, to be put into action. Oh, Putin was in Germany, by the way, and the Berlin Wall just came crumbling down. Oh, yeah, sorry. We'll tear this wall down for you. Everything's fine. We don't have a bunch of tanks in the mountains. And they played it cool. We had our disagreement back then. We played it cool. We were cool, right? Everybody thought we were cool. It was common knowledge that we were cool, right? We're friends with Russia. And then all these conspiracies come out that the rich elite corporate Americans are the same as the rich elite in Russia, and that they're all cooperating and they're going to kill all of us, basically. This is a fabricated story from Russia meant to make you think you pissed on a bartender. Okay? Take a little pride in yourself. Take a little pride in your country. Be thankful for what God has given you. And defend America by spreading this message somehow. Find your own way to tell this story. Or just copy the link. I don't care. Christianity has been completely destroyed by straw man arguments. You have been fed information that has been attributed to Christianity as a whole until Christians in this country accepted it as true. One side agreed with it and became bigots. The other side disagreed with it and lost faith altogether. But what people who aren't Christian need to know is that the original Christians, before this straw man argument came to prevalence, were the ones who protected you in Europe. They're the ones that have protected you here, and they are not your enemies. And that any responsible, objective, scientific person should not allow straw man arguments against good people to propagate. If you have a personal, petty issue with that, congratulations. You've destroyed